name is Sarah. Welcome to the It's a Sarah podcast. Today it is Monday, November 6, 2023, and this is episode 116. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet. I do not love to sew, but I do want to love to sew. So there's also a sewing part. And I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. I make my episodes in Dutch and in English, so be sure you pick the right one. Okay, I want to share my handwerk perikelen, my crafty adventures from this week with you, and I have quite some, so let's dive into it and let's start with what I'm wearing. I have my headband and my spencer. We call it a spencer, but I think you call it a vest or a slip over or whatever. But the Dutch designer, she calls it a spencer. I talked quite a lot about it before because those are two of my favorite things to wear, so I wear them all the time, but I will link all the information down below so you can find the design and all my experiences. All my experiences, I don't know, my Ravelry page, I mean. But my other one of my finished objects I'm also wearing, and it is my skirt. I made a skirt. It is really hard jumping. Oh, it was such a struggle. What will I tell? Let's start. Okay. I really want to be a sewer, but sewing and me, we never. Yeah, I don't know. It was never the sparkling. I never felt the sewing sparkle. I have a sewing machine. I will tell you more about it in a minute. It was gifted to me by my husband when our oldest son was a baby, and he's 18 years old now, so I own it quite some years. And I did sew, and I did follow sewing lessons, but it was just not a sewer thing, I guess. Knitting and crochet is much more my thing, but sewing not. And I fell in love with the Hinterland dress a few years ago. I saw it all the time, and then I decided, let's make one. So I started last year, and it was such a big struggle, and I didn't finish it. But luckily for me, I have a knitting friend living around the corner, who also is a great sewer, and she finished my sewing disaster. She made my favorite dress of it, my brown Hinterland dress, and then she also made a black Hinterland dress for me, and from the leftover fabric she also made a black linen skirt for me. So I am so grateful or thankful to her. I don't, it doesn't feel correct, this sentence, but you know what I mean, because she really made my favorite pieces in my wardrobe, combining it with a knitted garment. It's really, I feel so nice and good in it. So I'm really happy, but I still feel the desire that I can make a dress or skirt myself. Because when you can make your skirts and dress on the sewing machine and you can knit all the other things, you can make your whole wardrobe by yourself. And I love that idea. So Jessica, my knitting friend, she really loves to help people and to inspire people, and I need something as an extra motivation to try it, to make my own Hinterland again. So we decided to organize the Hinterland Jurk make-along. Jurk is the Dutch word for dress, and we made a separate Instagram account. You can follow it. It's a private account, but you can follow it. I will accept you. It is in Dutch, but there is a lot of information, and you can use the translation button, not with all the things, but yeah, Dutch is our language, I'm sorry. And there are a lot of people making Hinterland dresses, so that's very, very nice. And I started too. I found some fabric in the thrift store this summer, but it wasn't enough for a dress. So I decided to make a skirt, and I also decided that Wednesday would be my sewing day, because I always prefer knitting or crochet. So the appointment to have one day in the week I would sew was a good, that does work for me. So Wednesday is my sewing day, but I struggle with my machine, and I was always blaming my sewing machine. But a few years ago, I brought it to the store and they checked everything and they said, there's nothing wrong with your machine. So it must be me. But I don't like the idea that it must be me. So I ignored that a bit. So I was struggling again with the sewing machine and I thought, okay, I will bring it away. I need another machine because it isn't working. We don't have a good relationship. We are not in love and we cannot work together for all those time. So I decided to bring it away and I didn't want to buy a new machine immediately. But I could borrow the sewing machine from two friends actually, and I borrowed from one friend and she had the sewing machine I thought that would be right for me. So I was sewing with her machine and it felt so weird. It really felt as if I was cheating. Is that a good word? Cheating? When you are in love and you give your love to someone else, it doesn't feel good. I think, I don't know, I'm really very much in love with my own husband. So I never felt the need to give my love to someone else. But it felt as if I was doing that with the machine. And also, my sewing machine is it's a very good machine. So and not that hers wasn't good, but it felt so different. And my machine felt so, I don't know the word in English, so familiar, I guess. So familiar, so comfortable. So suddenly I realized, oh, maybe my machine is not only bad. So I grabbed my machine. I don't know if that's the right word. I grabbed my machine, I looked to it, and I didn't like the look of it. It has a blue stripes at the front, and I always say I don't like blue. And of course, it's a little bit of a joke. It is not really that I hate blue. That's not true, but it's a bit of a joke, a bit of serious. I do have blue things in my life. My front door is blue, and my sunscreen is blue. I don't want them to be blue, but they are. The favorite color of my husband is blue. But I love brown. The browns are my thing. So for years now. So I thought maybe it's the blue. And Jessica already mentioned maybe you can stick a little bit of tape over the blue part. And I checked my machine and I did the tape thing. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, it's quite heavy. I did the tape thing and I put all the stickers on it, on the back and on the front, and now it felt more me. I also sticked a little, it's a Sarah sticker, and now it's my machine. So I cleaned it. There was a little bit of soup that went over it 10 years ago, and I still could see the orange soup. It was dry. It was not, but I realized I didn't give my sewing machine a lot of love. So I gave it love, and immediately he gave me love too, because we sewed my skirt together. And I can't say we are really in love now. It's a little bit of a fragile relationship, as if you did have a big fight and you were angry and disappointed in each other. But you are making it up, and you are a bit careful with each other, and that's how we feel, I guess, aren't we? But maybe we will fall in love again. I don't know. I'm very happy that we sewed my skirt together. I will insert a little video of me showing my skirt. It's not perfect, but that was not what I wanted. I just wanted the skirt. I used the Hinterland pattern, the skirt part. It's just a straight piece of fabric, and I went down 2 sizes smaller than my size. I think my dress size is a size 8. So I think I used size 6 for the skirt, because otherwise it become too wide, and it's a corduroy fabric, so it's a bit stiff. It's not flowy. It's perfect for a winter skirt. So I did that part, and because there is no waistband in the pattern, I did use an old sewing book I owned for the waistband. It is quite wide, and the elastic it's maybe a little bit on the wide side, but I did leave an opening in the inside, so I can change that if the elastic is too wide. I can tighten it up a little bit. I do have pockets. I really love to have pockets in my skirt and dresses. It's practical for my keys or my little paper when I went to the grocery store, or the little plastic bags when you're why I am telling this, when our dog in the Netherlands, when you are walking in the woods and your dog, how do you say it, has shit? No, that's really weird. In Dutch we call it poepen. Shitting? Oh no, no, that doesn't sound nice. I don't know the word in English. You can pee and you can poop. In Dutch we call it poepen. Shitting? I don't like that word. But that's the only word I can think of. When you have to clean, you can't leave the shit just on the street. That's not what you want. That's not what all the other people want. So we have little plastic bags, and you can do it inside out, and you can grab the shit and you can close. And it's just you can go. Oh, you don't want to hear this. I think in other countries it works the same way, I guess. Of course, it's not nice when the shit is on the street and someone's no. Okay, we don't go there. You know what I mean. Skirts are perfect for those kind of bags too. So yeah, it was perfect, and I did finish the skirt, and at first it was a little bit on the long side. I think it's very interesting that only a few centimeters can make the difference between this is nice and whoa, this is hard jumping. And that I always have that. I'm a small person. I'm 163 centimeters. I don't know how much that is in inches. I think 1 inch is 2.5 centimeters. Roundabout. So I'm not a very tall person. So every time I have the simply grey linen skirts and dress, and they are always too long for me. And it's not that it's ugly. It is not, but it's not feeling good. And when I remove a little bit of length, then it's perfect. And also with this one, I had the skirt and I was happy, but I was and then I turned the seam inside, and I seamed it back, and it was only 2 or 3 centimeters shorter, and then it was good. It was hard jumping, and it was the perfect length. So I'm very happy. And now I don't have fabric for my Hinterland dress yet, because I can't find the fabric I want. And I'm also a bit doubting. I actually want a fabric with a pattern. I really love the gingham, the squares. No, there was another word. Checkered. This fabric. It is quite hard when you are a bit of a messy sewer, all the straight lines and stuff. So maybe it's better for me to try my first dress in a plain fabric with no motif, and maybe that's better. But I didn't decide, and Wednesday is my sewing day, and also this Wednesday I still won't have the fabric. But I received a message from a Dutch designer. She makes, I forgot her name because I didn't plan to say, but I will give her the credits later. She asked me if she could give me the pattern of her sewing design of a project bag with a quilted part in the middle, and it was really lovely. So I think I will start with that to train my sewing muscles before I will dive into the dress part. But I will keep you updated. Wednesday will be my sewing day, so I think I will start with that because it's perfect for leftovers. I have some leftovers from this and other leftovers, so I can make a start with that one. Okay. I also have a finished object, a knitted finished object, a pair of socks. Here they are. They are, there are some, I didn't weave in the yarn ends, but there's a reason for it. Ta-da! Oh, I love them so much. These socks are not for myself, but for my daughters. My daughter is 17 years old, and she has the same size as I have, the same foot size. So maybe I can borrow them every now and then. But see, I told you, I think last week, she brought a skein, a wonderful hand-dyed skein from her school trip in Barcelona. And this is from All You Need Is Love. The color Rufus, was it? I saw in the comments that's a bird, I guess. I didn't know. But a lovely orange color, a very bright, warm orange color. I really love it. And she really wants me to make a pair of socks for her. And I was first thinking of the Hermione socks. I don't know the designer, but it's a very popular pattern on Ravelry. I never made them before, but she really preferred cabled socks, and I searched for some patterns, and she says, I want these. This is a pattern from a Dutch designer, Ineke from Lunaster Knits, and these are the coffee and cable socks. The pattern is in English, and she also has a discount code right now. I don't know, I think the discount is Let's Cable. I'm not quite sure. I will link her Instagram and all it down below. But I really love this pattern. It was such a wonderful pattern with cables and little coffee beans. It's also a little stitch here. I will show it. These little coffee beans and the cables. And I did some modifications, so I will tell you more about that. The pattern is a top-down pattern, but I started at the toe because I just love it. And the original pattern is top-down with a plain leg, so no pattern at the back of the sock. Heel flap and gusset and 64 stitches. I knit my this sock top-down. I casted on 14 stitches with the Turkish cast on. I increased until I had 60 stitches, 30, I knit my socks magic loop, 30 per needle, because 64 stitches, the pattern is only in 64 stitches, but that would be too wide for my girl, especially because this is a merino sock yarn. I always use 56 stitches, and I know the cables use some extra. But 64 would be way too much. So I did a little modification, and that's this stitch, and I really love how it turned out. Actually here would be a two knit stitch column, and I love the column part, but because that was the only part I could modify, I decided to do a half brioche stitch. I used in the last pair of socks for my daughter. The one row you slip your stitch and you do a yarn over, and the second row you knit both, and it really gives a nice effect. So I did that, and then I did the shadow wrap short row heel. And for the shadow wrap short row heel, I always divide the stitches for the heel in 3. So because I had 30 stitches, normally I would divide it in 10, 10, 10, so 10 shadow wraps and 10 in the middle. But this time I realized that I quite often think my heel is too deep, too pointy. Your heel is my heel is quite wide at the back and not really pointy. So I don't like the pointy part. And I realized that 8 shadow wrap stitches is actually enough to create a deep heel. I hope it will be enough for my girl. So I did 8 shadow wrap short row stitches and 14 stitches in the middle, and it seems as it fits perfect around her foot, but I hope it will stay there when she wears them. We will see. And then I always do 10 rows. I think now I did 2 pattern repeats. I maybe did 12 rows, 3 pattern. 1.5 pattern repeats. Stockinette at the back, because that's also part of the heel, and when this is in your shoe and there's a cabling part, it can be annoying. And then I also did the pattern at the back because my girl wanted that, and it's really lovely and it was so much fun. I did the ribbing Normally here would be 2 knit stitches, so the ribbing would be perfect here, but that doesn't go well, so I decided to leave it this way. I love the detail of it. Let's see, the pattern is very memorizable. I really love that. So in the beginning I really use my notes and I have to check every time which side I have to cable, when do I need to, what do I do, easy, what do I have to do for the coffee bean. But after a few pattern repeats, it's all in your hands and in your head, and my hands and head are working together very good, and it gets very rhythmic and intuitive. So I didn't use the pattern at all. I did make a mistake. I cabled the wrong side once, and I only discovered that when I was, I think, 20 needles later. So I really, I know I don't have to rip out all. So I dropped the 4 stitches in which I made the mistake, and I dropped them 20 needles, and then I fixed it. And it's always quite a mess on your needle, and my brain is always, it's always almost panicking. Oh, what is happening there? It's one big mess. Oh, that feeling I have, but I have to focus and have to make very small steps, and then it's quite easy to fix the mistake. But you it's very important you don't listen to that little panic Sarah in the little panic you in your head, because then it will be a mess and then you have to rip out. But when you ignore the little panic you in your head, then you do tiny steps and then it will work out. It took me half an hour. And I was happy that I spent that half an hour, because it was on the middle of the front foot, and it would be, of course, there's nothing wrong with a mistake, but I love them now more. I did make a challenge of it. I wanted to finish them yesterday evening so I could show them today, because she really wants to wear them, and next week there will be no episode. I will explain why. It's something fun. I will explain why at the end of the episode, but she really wants to wear them, and I want to show them before. I didn't weave in the yarn ends. That's because I did 2 different kind of bind-offs. This is the extra stretchy bind-off, and I think it's a bit loose. I re-knitted the border twice, first on 2.25mm needles, but then on 2.2mm needles. It didn't make a lot of difference. And I think the bind-off was quite loose, and so I did the extra stretchy bind-off, but every other stitch. So not every stitch, but every other stitch. And now there is a limit in stretch, and I can feel it when I put the socks on. I can feel it when they are on my leg. It's okay, but yeah, going over the heel, I can feel. My girl, she has some thinner legs than I have, so but she's at school, so she has to fit them, and then she has to choose which bind-off she prefers, and I will fix the other one, and then I will weave in the ends, and I think I will block them. I don't know if she can wait so long. They are looking pretty right now, but cables are always getting better when you block them, but they are good already. There's also a mistake here, and I couldn't fix that, because you can see it maybe here. There also went something wrong. I don't know why, and then I dropped the stitches, but because the yarn overs and the purl stitches, the yarn was crossed every now and then, and I didn't get it. I didn't saw what was necessary, so I made a mistake, and I tried it over and over again, and at some point I thought, okay, I don't see it, leave it there. And that's also okay. I tried. Okay, so those beautiful socks, the coffee and cable socks, I absolutely recommend this pattern, and they are just lovely. And I want a pair for myself right now too. So maybe I will make them once for myself. But she also has them in fingerless mittens, the pattern, I guess. Okay, that's my only finished object. I do have a new cast on. Last week I showed you the sweater for my little niece, and I still have 2.5 skeins from this yarn left over, and I want it out of my stash just because it is long yarn Soho, and it's left over from my long yarns time when I worked for them, and it was a perfect yarn for a sweater for my niece. But I won't knit a sweater or a garment for myself in it, because I don't know if it will hold good. But my father, he said that it would be nice for a hat, and I'm not really a hat knitter. I don't wear hats myself. My hair doesn't like hats, and I have a lot of hair, so I never have a gold hat. But I did doubt about knitting a Sophie shawl with it from Petite Knit. But I didn't want it myself, a Sophie shawl. I want a Sophie shawl. The pattern was gifted to me by a lovely viewer, so thank you. I will knit it, but I will knit it in another yarn. So I decided, okay, let's make a hat, and I casted on I think it's called the Classic Ribbed Hat from Purl Soho, a free pattern, and because the yarn is a little bit thicker, I just cast it on size 2. That's a toddler size, if I'm correct. 96 stitches, and it's really let me fit it. I thought when it's small, I can give it to my niece or to my children. It's really wide, so I think it will be for one of my children, or maybe for my father, or I don't know. But I really love knitting rib. I do combination knitting, so it's really satisfying to do. And maybe I will make matching hats for all my family. I don't really do holiday knitting, Christmas knitting. I always forget the week before Christmas, then I always regret that. But I just will knit hats, and maybe I can see, I don't know who wants one. We will see. It's just, for me, it's just a nice on-the-go knitting project. I'm also knitting on my husband's cardigan. It is really satisfying. It's really making me happy, although it is quite a boring knitting project. I'm knitting with perikelen from Sandnes, and it's my first time knitting with perikelen, but I love it. It's a DK weight. It is non-superwash. It's working pretty good. It's feeling very nice. So I really love this yarn. I am knitting a cardigan for my husband, and I told about it before, so I tried to keep it short, but I changed from pattern, and now I really want to make it top down, and I used the pattern, the zipper Sweater Light Men by Petite Knit, and that's a sweater, but I made a cardigan of it, and I don't do stockinette but broken rib stitch, and I think the fit is perfect. And I'm now at the point that it's mindless knit. I do have to pay attention, because the broken rib stitch, you knit all the stitches on one needle on the right side, and on the wrong side you have to knit purl, but it's not very, you can see it's bobbly, it's not you can see it, but it's a little bit harder to see. So in the beginning I made quite some mistakes, and but I'm not doing that anymore. Every now and then I made a little mistake, but then I feel it quite soon and I can fix it. So I really love this cardigan. I have needle stoppers. I'm not a needle stopper person, to be honest. But when I was at the knitting event at the Braided a few weeks ago, I was buying needle stoppers for my youngest girl, and then I found those one. I don't know if I already showed them, but they really are making me happy. So yeah, and actually they work quite good. I have to put this project in another project bag because it's getting too big for this one. So we will do that later today. I'm sorry. This lovely quilted project bag by a Belgian lady, Quilting Mieke, with my own name on it. It's really lovely, but it's not big enough. I have bigger ones. Then I was at a lovely event yesterday. I was invited for, how do you call it? I didn't look it up in English. a mode show. Is it also the English word? A mode show? A mode show. I don't know. Alexandra, she's the owner of a lovely Dutch yarn shop in Dordrecht, Rebel with a Twist. She sells a lot of yarns from Isager, and she had the idea to organize a mode show. She contacted Isager and she asked, can I borrow the original sweaters you made and cardigans so I can show them in my store and I can invite people and we do a show. They agreed. They sent the pieces to her, and it was really lovely, the original pieces. So there were a lot of lovely knitters, and we all watched the beautiful sweaters on the beautiful people who were showing it, and Alexandra was telling us about it. So it was really lovely. And I must confess that the Isager designs, a lot of the designs are not really my style. There are beautiful sweaters and cardigans and also on, but not really what I wear. But all the show I was distracted by the sweater Alexandra was wearing herself. It was also a design by Isager. It was the crystal sweater. Is it Helen Isager or Helga Isager? I don't know. But the crystal sweater, it was a V-shaped neckline with some lace all over on the sleeves and little lace details. It is a bottom-up sweater. I decided I wouldn't do that anymore, but I think I will do it. maybe I can use another pattern. I don't know. I will think about it. But I fell in love with her sweater, so I bought the yarn for it, and it was a combination of Isager Jensen. I never used it before. It feels very lovely, and there was another Dutch knitter, her name is Karin, and she was also knitting the crystal sweater in a beautiful brown color, and she was also wearing a beautiful design of Sari Noordlund, an all over cabled sweater knitted in Isager Jensen and without the mohair, and I was really loving the feel of it. So the crystal sweater is quite white, and I thought when I will knit it with only one strand of yarn, skip the mohair, then it will be a little bit more my size and I can wear it on my dresses and skirts. And then she had a lovely shade of brown, but I don't know, it was lovely, but it was not hard jumping. Maybe it was I already own too much in that color, so it was a little bit of a light brown, and then I thought, let's take a different color. So I picked this one. I really would love to have that on my skirt, and yeah, it's really making me happy. I have no idea when I will cast on this sweater because I didn't need new inspiration, but I really love it, and I only needed 3 skeins of it, so that was really surprising. I was glad because they are not cheap, but only 3 skeins and knitting a sweater. Yeah, I hardly can't believe it, but it will happen. So it was very lovely. I did film a little bit in the yarn shop, but maybe I'm too hard on myself, but I think filming when I am on a social thing is really hard to me because I'm chatting and I'm not busy with my phone. But when you put a little music under it and only cut a little bit snaps, it's always nice to watch. So I will add a little video clip of it at the end of my episode, so you can see the beautiful yarn store. When you are in the Netherlands and you are in you visit Dordrecht, really visit the yarn store of Alexandra, Rebel with a Twist. When I left the yarn store, I had a wonderful cup of tea with Gwen. Gwen is a Dutch knitter. She is from the Woolly Closet. She also uses Instagram and she makes YouTube episodes in English. And we had a really nice cup of tea with a reason because I felt a bit ashamed. A few episodes ago, I was wondering about my Ariana cardigan. I made a cardigan and I also made the Ariana sweater, and I couldn't remember how the pattern came in my life. So I thought, did I found it myself on Ravelry? Did I saw it with someone? And I said, I'm quite sure the sweater idea is my own idea to make a sweater of the Ariana cardigan. And then Gwen replied under that episode and she said, I think you saw it at my Instagram feed because we chatted about that and you really fell in love with my sweater and so on. So I couldn't remember, and I always delete my Instagram messages so I can't read them back. I love empty inboxes. I'm a bit sensitive for all the messages, and I love the messages, but it's also pressing on my shoulder that I have to reply and all the things. So yeah, I'm sorry. I just love knitting and crocheting and to spend my time on those things. So I scrolled in her Instagram feed and I found the sweater from from quite some time ago. She made a Ariana sweater. So her inspiration was my inspiration for my idea. I didn't make it up myself. So I was quite sure I did make it up myself. So I felt a little bit ashamed, but Gwen was very sweet and she said, no, that's gonna happen. It's okay. It's okay. And she asked me when I was around her town in Dordrecht, maybe we could have a cup of tea. So we did, and it was very nice. It was very busy. Also, there was a running game in the city center, so it was very busy. But we had a lovely cup of tea, and she was wearing a beautiful Vera Valiaki. No, I'm butchering up that name. Vera Valiaki, the Finnish designer. She was wearing a lovely sweater. I will link down below her YouTube channel so you can watch it yourself. It is in English, so it's very nice. And also she was wearing her M-Call shawl, a Stephen West Geo Gradient. So that was very lovely, and it was nice to meet someone else. Gwen, thank you for all the inspiration because I casted on my third Ariana sweater. I'm quite sure it will be a sweater, and I showed a little bit about it, a little bit of it last week. But this time I'm crocheting with Lopi Einband. I bought Lopi Einband. It's a light fingering, non-superwash yarn. I bought it a few years ago with the plan to make a dress of it with the yarn held double. It never happened. And then 2 years ago, I made this sweater of it. And it's nice to show you. I have some things about my clothes hangers right now. So they protect my woolen garments a little bit. I did receive a lovely video of an Australian knitter, and she showed me how her father learned her to fold her knitwear. So you can hang it around. I hope I will do it right now. It's a little bit hard. So this way it was. So you can hang your knitwear without the risk of hanging out or that part. So it was really lovely. So I did that, but it is much thicker. So it was full. I couldn't add new knitting, and that was not what I liked. And of course it is still lovely knitwear, but I love it more when it's hanging all over. So I did buy the thing. And I don't really love the white plastic parts. And I can totally understand why there are beautiful crochet clothes hangers. But for now, this was the most less time consuming option. I still don't have a pin. We have very busy weekends. So my husband and I, we forget all the time. But I want to show you this sweater because 2 years ago, Ellie from Skeiner Knit, she suddenly came out with the festive yoke pattern, and the pattern wasn't ready yet. But the pattern was ready, but the layout wasn't ready. The pictures weren't taken. But she really felt that maybe some people would be happy when the pattern was already available. So she shared it and I bought it, and I really think it was hard jumping. But the only yarn, it was 2 weeks before Christmas, and I really want to finish this sweater before Christmas. And knitting an all over colorwork sweater in 2 weeks is quite a challenge, but I love a challenge every now and then. So I I did that, but I didn't have time to order yarn. And this was the only yarn in my stash which could go with it. But it was Lopi Einband light fingering, and it was really interesting because when I see this sweater from a distance, it's one of the most beautiful pieces I ever made. But when it's getting closer, I don't love the stitch definition at all. But also because it is such a thin yarn, it's really lovely to wear. But yeah, I have really mixed feelings about this one. I will make the festive yoke cardigan this winter. I have some green and white Rauma Fino, and that will be totally different. But yeah, I still love the colors a lot, and I really love the pattern. But I have quite some left over from Lopi Einband. I did order also in a sale, I guess. But I didn't want to knit with it, although not with single strand. But then when I visited the yarn shop this summer, the lady of the yarn shop, she did crochet a blanket with Lopi Einband, and I really love it, the look of it. And then I realized I can make crochet granny squares for my next Ariana. So I did. And it's really lovely. I don't have the first color. It's a bit of an oatmeal color. It's my on-the-go work. It's in my backpack with my crochet needle, 3mm needle I do. And I can crochet granny squares all the time. And then later I will add them at home. So I will have one light brown row and one round. And with the dark I make it, I crochet together as I go. This time I started with the sleeve because my first sweater version was too tight, so my daughter is wearing it now. And when I was starting here, I thought, oh no, this is way too wide, but it isn't when I am here. So I think I'm almost there right now, and I have to check if I want. No, I think it will be this way. And I'm thinking of knitting the border with holding the yarn double, so it will be a thick border because this is thicker than the knitted fabric, and I don't really love the stitch definition of the single strand knitted border. So I think when I'm not quite sure, I have to try. When I held it double, it has lead Lopi thickness. I will prefer, especially with the neckline, with a V-shaped neckline, and I really love it is very rustic. But the warmth is really nice and fine. And I will never wear it without a long sleeve shirt under it. So yeah, it's really a heart jumping thing. So dear Gwen, thank you for the inspiration. And thank you for the nice cup of tea. It's always nice to meet other people with the same passion as you have. Okay. Let's see. Then I have another, I'm almost there, I guess. I have another lovely yarn. It was gifted to me. It's a collaboration with a new Dutch yarn shop. I think she also sends to other countries because she always uses a lot of English. It is the yarn shop from Antonita. From wool uit het zuiden, wool from the south. Antonita has Spanish roots, and she lived in Portugal, and she really fell in love with the Portuguese and Spanish yarns, and she wants to give the Dutch people, and I think other people, the opportunity to meet these yarns. So she started a web shop in the Netherlands. And she sent me some lovely yarn balls to a little bit of a woolly taste. And I really love the yarns. And then I suggested a collaboration. So she gifted these to me. I really want to make for quite a long time the ultra worsted cardigan. Also a design of Ellie from Skeender. It's an all over colorwork cardigan in worsted weight yarn. And it was my plan to knit it in lead Lopi. I do have it already here. But I really love this yarn, so I suggested Antonita that I would knit it in this yarn, and she thought that was a good idea. So I was allowed to pick the colors, and she sent them to me. And I am really surprised. It is Delana Rustica. I don't know how to pronounce that actually, and it is Spanish 100% merino yarn. It is non-superwash. It is feeling lovely. It it is rustic, but also soft, and it was quite cheap. I didn't pay for it. She gave it to me, but it are 100 gram balls, and they only cost €7.25. And I only needed 5 yarn balls for an all-over colorwork cardigan. I can hardly believe it, but I checked the meters every time, and I didn't make a mistake. And Antonita says these are kind of magic yarn balls because there's yarn coming and coming and coming. So she's very enthusiastic about them. And I don't know how they knit, but they smell gorgeous and they feel gorgeous. So, and they are available in a lot of colors. I picked 2 undyed ones. They are natural colors. I really love the combination. This will be my main color and this will be my contrast color. But Antonita, I will link it down below. She organized and categorized them in different color palettes. So there's an undyed color palette and a dark color palette and a pastel color palette and a bright color palette. And I think I mentioned them all right now, but all the colors. So when it's really knitting up, as Antonita says, it might be one of my new favorite yarns because I really love it. I love the idea of sustainable yarn. I love the price. I love the feeling. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm a little bit doubting if I will cast it on soon or not. I will tell you more about it in a minute, but I will cast it on soon. This year, absolutely. I have to check my. Oh, now I know. I forgot something. Oh yeah. I forgot a lovely gift I want to show. I filmed a little bit, so I will insert it while I'm talking about it. I got a message from Joan. I hope I say it right. And Joan is a German crafter. I hope I say it correctly. And she asked me if she could send me something. And I always feel a bit uncomfortable when people are asking me if they can send me something, and quite often I say no, that's not necessary, but it's always a bit of a struggle because I know it can be fun for people to send me something, but I always feel as if it's way too much. But I'm learning that it's also I'm learning in receiving. So I said, yes, okay, send me something. I say, I don't need yarn. She says, no, this is nice for your family. So I had no idea, but she sent me a lovely box filled with crochet autumn things. Mushrooms, pumpkins. Oh, how do you call the other things? Dennenapples. Pineapples, I guess. Pineapples. It was so lovely and sweet. It was looking very great and very neat. And I also received from another viewer, I don't know if I am saying it correctly, from Hungary. No, I don't know. I'm not sure. But an English pattern, it was digital. She emailed it me, a pattern book filled with the most beautiful designs for crochet mushrooms, and I really want to make them all, but I don't know when. I don't know if it will happen this year, but it was really hard jumping. It is so sweet, all the things you sent me. And also, Joan, I put it at our fireplace. There are also all my lovely things and made by the children. There we have quite some wooden mushrooms, curved. Do you say curved? My children curved them at school, and some copper ones. They all are handmade by them, and this is really lovely. And it felt really nice. So thank you, Joan. It was really making me happy. Heart jumping to me. Okay. Yeah, then this was it. I guess. Oh, again, didn't I forget? I forgot something. I have the feeling I forgot something. No, I don't. Next Monday there will be no episode, and also not on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because we are going on actually kind of a holiday. We are going to Prague in Czechia. We say Czechia. Czech? How do you say it in English? Nah, that doesn't matter. We are going to Prague, and it's quite a special trip. We never go on holiday, and we never do city trips. We are renting an apartment and in the city town, so it's very special. But the reason we are going to Prague is because of my son. My son is a rugby player, and rugby is not in the Netherlands. It's not a very big or popular sport. I know we just watched the World Championships of rugby, and I know in other countries it's much bigger. And I really, my son is playing rugby for 8 years, I guess, for quite some time. So we are all into it, and I really love the sport. I really, it's quite a rough sport. It's not the perfect sport for mothers when their sons are playing rugby. I was watching New Zealand, and there were 3 brothers in the team, and I thought, oh, that poor mother. When I'm watching rugby games and I see my son under a pile of other rugby players, I always, doesn't he get hurt? But there's a tournament, the European Championship for the youth is in Prague next week, and he's playing for the Dutch team under 18. And that's very special, and we are going to support him, and he's there with his team, but we are going with family and friends, and we are having a wonderful time in Prague. So that's very special. So I will be there next week, and it's also my birthday next week, so it's very special. We are in Prague then, and I guess, maybe, I don't know if I have people watching this episode who are familiar in Prague or are living in Prague, but if you have good yarn shops around there, let me know. I think I found one just around the corner from our apartment, so that's very dangerous. And I'm having my birthday, so I can imagine, I don't need yarn, but I can imagine there will be a yarn shop visit. Okay, I will tell you all about it when I'm back. I think I will make an episode just the Monday after that, but we are coming home at Sunday, so when it's a bit too busy, maybe I will skip one day. I don't know. I will let you know. But next week there will be nothing. It will be quiet because Sarah's having fun in Prague, and of course I'm supporting my son and his team. I hope they have a good time. So okay. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the nice words. Every time again, it's really heart jumping to me. I hope you have some nice knitting and crochet adventures the coming 2 weeks. I wish you all good and a lot of love and a lot of heart jumping moments. Bye bye.